May everyone who sees this video feel the love in the center of their own being, and may it expand and go out and bless everyone on earth. Despite all the weird things happening on the earth, I am grateful to be here now, to be someone that can make a difference.
Welcome, my dear friend Peter. I'm so happy that I have this conversation today with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Nice to see you again. After
Again,
you visited here, what, last year, right? Yeah,
it was in June.
June.
It was in June I was at the Mount Shasta Summer Conference, invited as a speaker. And before the conference, I asked you if you have time, and I had a rental car. So I came up and visited you in Lake Shastina in your house, and it was just an amazing it was just full of, my heart was just, this connection. It was just amazing. And I sent you the link to my article that I wrote afterwards.
Yeah,
I'm
that was
going to put it
beautiful.
in the YouTube description so that
Yeah.
people can look at it, because I also added some audios and quotes and photos and everything. So yeah.
See, when people visit me, I get a blessing too, if they're sincere, because there's that desire for God. And then I mirror that, like my teacher Pearl did. And then they experience God, but they think it's coming from me, but actually they're opening up to their own God presence. So you have the picture of the presence behind you over your right shoulder. But people think that's just the artist's drawing, but that's really very much what it looked like, that ball of light with the colors around it. And that it sends a tube of light through the top of the head, and it's anchored not in the heart, but just under the sternum. You can feel it when you tap there. It's very sensitive. And in India, they call that the Jyoti, the sacred flame, the Jyoti. And that's really, if you meditate on that and expanding that light out, it gets stronger and stronger. That's almost the whole path right there. Saint Germain gives that in Unveiled Mysteries in the first chapter, the light meditation. People want to make things so complicated, but it still comes back to that.
Exactly.
That's
And
the beginning.
I remember that you have audios and meditations on your website, on the I Am Teachings website,
Mhm.
and I downloaded it once. A meditation instruction, I think it's called, the audio, and I downloaded it and I was listening to it over and over and over again. And then I did a transcript and I translated it to German, and then I spoke it in German and did it like as you did it, just the German version. And actually, everybody who is interested in connecting with their inner heart, it's on my YouTube channel, the German version, because Peter allowed me to publish it, or gave me permission. And it's on my YouTube channel. And I heard already from some people, not so many are responding to it, but some already responded to me that they enjoy it very much and that it helps them very much to connect with this heart flame. Yes.
Good, good. Yeah. I like this. I've studied a lot of Tibetan Buddhism, and it seems very complicated, but I went to a practice with Chagdud Rinpoche, and all day long, for 9 days, we have this big, thick book that we're going to recite from 8 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock at night, one thing after another. But the very first sentence is go into a state of non-dual awareness. Like you go into the consciousness of your presence. Then you do the whole practice. You see everything that's happening as a projection of yourself, which is great practice for life. Like right now, we're in a movie and we're characters in it, but it's your movie, but it's also my movie. So everybody can see their life as a movie and say, why did I choose to have this in my life, you know? And there's a reason. So I am being shown what that is, and not to take anything personally, you know, that everything is happening for a reason, even the whole world situation. It's something for us to learn something from and try to give gratitude to God that we're here now at this time experiencing this, and we can make a change, we can make a difference, you know?
You know what?
See, in the Buddhist practice, you become the deity, whether it's Chenrezig or Kuan Yin, whatever God you choose, you become the deity, you know? But see, you could also just say, I am the deity. I am, that's with the essence of the I am teachings. I am the presence of God right here and now. And so are you. And I am seeing myself everywhere and everything. That's the whole essence of the I am teachings. So if you want to be master of that, find it in yourself, you know, First thing, find your own ray. Your own ray starts, you know, here, and it goes up into your I am presence. And they do not allow the twin rays to be together in full consciousness until each one has found the God source within themselves, you know?
Yes, exactly. We are going to dive deeper into that, and now for those of you who don't know Peter yet, and especially probably from my audience, because on your channel everybody knows you, they don't know me so well. But I would like to introduce Peter now with a short bio that I prepared, and I'm going to just read it to you. Peter Mount Shasta was given his name by the ascended master Saint Germain, who appeared to him etherically on Mount Shasta after his first trip to India. In 1973, on his return from his second trip to India, where he met many saints and sages, Saint Germain appeared physically before him in Muir
Woods,
California, and offered him the opportunity to ascend. But after Saint Germain showed him the suffering of humanity, Peter chose to stay in embodiment to be of service. As a result of that decision, he was sent to Mount Shasta, where he was trained for several years by Pearl Doris, former director of the I Am Sanctuary of San Francisco and assistant to Godfrey Ray King, author of Unveiled Mysteries and founder of the Saint Germain Foundation. Unveiled Mysteries actually is this book, this green book by Godfrey Ray King about Saint Germain experiences and encounters, the masters. Except for various travels and retreats, Peter has continued to live in Mount Shasta. He is currently the author of 12 books, some autobiographical and many translated into other languages, which teach how to meditate and use I am affirmations to bring God consciousness into daily life to benefit others, attain mastery, and ultimately attain the ascension. And some spiritual milestones and teachings that I'm just throwing in now as keywords, because we have to see how much of that we can really cover today, because we already shared that we can talk about this for hours, days, and weeks, and months, and forever. It's you had many face-to-face encounters with ascended masters, physically and ethereally. You have the experience, the knowing, you had it beforehand through your own teacher Pearl, and through the book Unveiled Mysteries, where also the twin rays are mentioned because of Godfrey Ray King and many others of these characters also had encounters with their twin rays or twin flames. So you also met your physical incarnation, your twin flame. And this is what you are covering in this book. This is what I just read. And this is what this conversation today is mostly based upon, Apprentice to the Masters. You also had experiences with UFOs and extraterrestrials. You met Wendell Stevens and the Pleiadian Semjase, right? Yes. And Billy Meier, you haven't met personally, only just heard about him from Wendell.
Yeah, right? I went to his farm in Switzerland, but he was busy at the time. He couldn't see me, you know.
Okay, but you know
he's very much recluse. Yeah, I know about him because Wendell had a lot of time with Billy.
Yeah. And you spoke with Wendell.
Oh yeah, he was a friend of mine. Wendell saw Billy beamed up right in front of him. He was there, and then poof, he was gone. And you know, then an hour later he came back. You know. So.
Yeah. Exactly. This is what you told me when I was with you. You shared that with me. And the other, I'm just continuing with 2 more keywords that we want to talk about a little bit. Oh, I would like to add also, you also know about the inner earth, the beings of that are residing in the center of the earth or somewhere. I don't know if it's the center, but in the inner.
Yeah.
You also had an experience, I think or maybe we want to go into it again with the atomic accelerator.
Yeah.
And when I shared these keywords and the biography with you to check it out, you mentioned or you added how to turn depression into happiness. So obviously this is something that you would like to talk about also, right?
Sure. Yeah.
True. So where do we start now? I would like to start with the twin rays.
Well, like what they call a soulmate, this is somebody you may have had many lifetimes with, and you meet them in this lifetime, and you feel immediately that you know them, that they're like an old friend. You know, everybody had that experience. You meet someone, and it's just like you've met an old friend, you know, and you may fall in love, and many people feel, oh, I met my twin ray, you know, because this immediate recognition, if you've had many lifetimes with somebody, and you know, you may have had different roles. You might have been their father or their mother or their child, or you know, or their enemy or their employer or whatever. And then, you know, there's some karma to work out, or maybe you have some work to do in this life, you know, and you're brought together with that person to do some work. Maybe that work is just to help purify each other, or maybe you have some work in the world to start a group or to give some teachings, something like that. And that's the soulmate, you know. And another thing is, I say, all these relationships come to us under direction from God or from the masters, our higher self, you know, that all the major events in our life are already determined. There's a script before we're born, you know, and we have to have the experience that it's all just happening in the moment. But who our parents, like when we are born, that moment that we're going to have that astrology chart, we're going to have those parents, then we're going to meet this person at this time, we're going to meet that person at that time, how much money you're going to have, all these challenges. This is all part of the script for your life. So trust that there's a plan for your life, you know? So you don't need to go out, you know, and advertise for your twin ray or look for them on Facebook, or, you know, I even told my daughter, you could live in a cabin on the mountain by yourself, and if it's time for you to be in a relationship, the right person will knock on the door at the right moment. Yes. You know, that it's all that's all under guidance. So to trust in that even if you feel lonely or very alone, nobody knows you're there, at the right time, the right person will be there, and whatever is supposed to happen is going to happen. And try to ask, I call on God to bring about the divine plan for this relationship, reveal to us what our work is. And the important thing is not to give your power away totally. Like when you meet someone, you fall in love, you want to do whatever it is to be with that person, you know what I mean? And people sometimes they give more of their power away to make that relationship possible. Then in the end, when the relationship splits up, then they feel they gave too much away, and they feel hurt. So that's like what I say, mastery is knowing who you are, finding your own ray first,
Yes.
and know that ray is always there. And actually, wherever your twin ray is in the universe, I mean, they could be on another planet now. They might not even be an embodiment. They might be in a different dimension, but you are still connected. Like at night when you go to sleep, you leave your physical body and you go and do other things, but you're still connected to your physical body, even though it's not in your mind, So you're always in some way, because that light, those rays are part of the same being. It's like the left hand and the right hand. You don't think about it, but what if you grew up and your left hand was tied behind your back? All you knew was the right hand, And then one day, oh, I've got another hand. Like I saw babies when they're young, they discover their hands and it's a big excitement, And then they discover hands can work together. They can do things with the hands, So we're all connected at every moment with the twin ray. We just don't see them, like they're behind us somewhere or wherever it is. But my left hand and right hand are still part of Peter,
Yes.
And eventually they learn to work together, and they're not like staring at each other saying, oh, I love you, I love you. It's just, no, we're part of Peter. Peter is part of God. And we're all like working together to create something, So, back when we were created, like we were like rays of light from the great central sun, in the center of the universe, we were just these balls of light, like in the picture behind you. And when Saint Germain took me up out of the body and he said, do you want to go back now and be this? There was just the many balls of light around me and they were in such bliss. I said, I could feel it. I said, yes. Oh, this is wonderful, And that's even without my twin ray, just to go back and merge with who I am, my God presence, that would be bliss, But then I saw the suffering on the earth. My heart went out. I could hear the crying. And I said, oh, I've got to go back and help. And then he smiled and said, you made the right choice. I want you to help me with my work, And I think part of that is helping people understand this twin ray thing, So what happened is in that ball of light, there is a masculine part and a feminine part. The feminine is more the love, the mother quality, but that's the heart. That's at the center of the ball of light, is like the mother, but that needs protection. So the father, masculine part, is around the outside, and that's more the mental part, the will, the thinking part, the part that wants to fix everything. And, so they work together and it's like they're in that highest state. There's like there's a dialogue going back and forth. They don't need to talk to each other. They immediately intuit what the other one wants or what the perception is, and they can create like that. That's God, actually. The I am presence is a God focused, and the male female part work together to create things. And then we came down into denser worlds, and then these parts can actually separate the feminine part can project out from the male part, exist as a separate ball of light, you know?
And it
But
also
then they
contains part of the masculine part within it.
yeah,
It's the yin and yang, where always the
yeah,
masculine and the feminine are somehow a little bit.
yeah. We're never all 100% male or
Yeah,
female. We
exactly.
have some percentage in there of the other.
Yeah.
And so in fact, in one of the Saint Germain Foundation books, it says that Saint Germain's twin ray, it doesn't give her name. I know people give names, people channel messages, give names for her, but said she is the messenger of the god Meru, who was supposed to be in South America. Well, you think, wow, does Saint Germain get jealous that his twin ray is hanging out with this guy in South America? But on that level, there's nothing like they're in constant communication because in that consciousness, they're one all the time. They don't need to be physically present, you know, and they also have their own work, you know. She doesn't stay home and do the cooking and cleaning, you know, she's out doing cosmic work, you know, with other beings also, you know. But the work got tricky is when they come down, actually embody into separate bodies. The male part goes into one body and the female into another. And that also happened, you know, in a more etheric realm than we're in here, you know, and say, you know, they came, let's say, in the Pleiades or on Arcturus or something, or in Venus, lived in a higher frequency and they could talk to each other just like we're talking, you know, but then came the decision to go to Earth and go into denser bodies, you know. Yes. And a lot of people feel that the twin rays made a mistake, you know. In fact, there's something in the Bible they call the fall, that they say we were not really intended to go into flesh bodies, you know. A friend of mine calls it the meat body, you know, that, but we felt we could help people more if we entered into their condition, you know, like we came here as teachers, but then we thought, well, you know, it's hard for them to contact us or understand us. If we actually embodied as them, then it would be easier. But then the problem is, oh, I'm down here. I see a woman I like who's attractive, or the twin sees a man that I should spend some time with him, you know? So they went separate ways, got involved with other people. And a lot of people feel that was a mistake, you know? But the way I look at it now is this was a great growth opportunity that when you meet another person, just imagine they are your twin ray, you know, that they are a manifestation of God. And you shouldn't say, I cannot experience God with you. I can only experience God with my twin ray, you know. So the fact that your twin ray is not there all the time, it means that you can, again, experience God within yourself, but also God in everybody, not just your twin, you know. Well, so I think it's opportunity, you know.
It's so important what you're sharing, and of course you're now sharing everything from the realized state that you're in now. I mean, now you are a wise old soul. But when I, of course, think of your book, which I just read until the end, you also, when you met her, how old were you, Peter? 30?
Maybe 30, around there.
Exactly. And it was part of your ascension. It was part of your spiritual teachings from the masters to encounter your twin ray. You call her Elizabeth in this book. I don't know if this is her real name.
Not her real name, no.
Not her real name, for her privacy protection, yes. So when the reader reads that, they will, of course, also experience, I mean, it's clear that you were really experiencing this love for this soul, which was an embodiment of another woman. And of course, everything was going crazy probably with because you had made this vow of celibacy in this order of Melchizedek, and you were then all of a sudden thrown into this tremendous love, and she did not want to pursue the same path as you, and it was a hard time to deal with that and to meet her and to separate again and everything. So this was a very of course, when you were going through it, it was a very hard and painful experience, I assume, and yet it was part of the training to a very important teacher's training, so that you would overcome and then later, I remember later, after you really separated from her, right? This came later when you had met her again, and it was clear that it would not work out, and you had this vision that even if you would marry her, you would end up in a painful divorce. You had this vision that it would not work, and then you said it, you sent her away, and you had a really dark night of the soul for a couple of days afterwards, where you really were very, very sad and desperate, remember? And then afterwards you were given the blessing of seeing this fall, and why all that happened, and why you had this karma with her. And it's not a karma with her, but you found peace by seeing the complete picture, why it would not work in this lifetime, and yet why you had to meet her. Am I summarizing this correctly?
Yes, see, she did not want anything to do with the ascended masters. She could see them. She was very blessed. She could see them and talk with them. And she told them, leave me alone. She said, I want to do my own will. I want to do what I want to do, not what you want me to do. Now, my whole work is to serve, is with the ascended masters. So there's no way we could be together,
That was your decision at that time, and
yeah,
and later, because while I was reading it, I was always asking, because there was still this question coming up later from your part, even that you were longing for an answer from Saint Germain. Will I ever be together with her? Will it somehow still work? It's somewhere it's in the book, and then you were given new jobs to do, new teachings to go through, and then they told you have to get out of the celibacy vow and even marry, right? Saint Germain eventually told you to marry, because you had to go into the physicality with another person. It was not your twin ray. It could not be her. It was another woman, right?
Right. And it was on January 1st, because, on New Year's Eve, the masters have a meeting and they show their disciples the plan for their life for the next year. Now, usually we're not allowed to remember that, but on January 1st, I said, Saint Germain, what is the plan for my life? And now this is after 7 years of celibacy. He said, I want you to get married. And I said, marriage? But I'm a member of the Order of Melchizedek. I can't do that. It must be celibate marriage, because Pearl and Jerry had this celibate marriage, So I said, if you want me to marry, who? And he waved his hand, and I saw this woman that I had met at Pearl's house. And this is before email, before Google, all of that. So we used to write letters to each other. And we disagreed on everything. And I said to Saint Germain, I said, we disagree on everything. He said, yes, I know it'll be good for you.
Hard, isn't it? I mean, it was to purge the lower chakras, right? It was a path. You had to go with her because of the emotional and the attachment centers to go into that, because you were so high already connected, and you even had spiritual encounters with evil entities that you could fight with the light and with love. So you were really very advanced already. And then came this part, living together with a woman you disagreed on everything. And you had
I think the real lesson there was to learn what it is to be a human being,
Yes.
how to be in relationship with another person. And after we separated, I asked the masters, why did you bring me together with this woman? And I saw the tarot card. It's called the Lightning Struck Tower. It's a tower, a high tower, lightning hits it, and the being falls out of the tower into a river. And I saw what it showed me. I had gotten very high, like in this tower, but I could only see in one direction. And then I got blasted, the masters blasted me out of that tower, and I fell into the river of life. You see, and later with another woman, I had a child. That was another big lesson. My mother used to say, you never understand life until you have a child. I didn't believe her. But when it happened, I went, whoa, now I understand what people go through, you know. So the masters wanted me to understand what it's like to be a human being. How are you going to help humanity if you don't know what they go through? You know, so there's some of these yogis that live in caves, you know, they're very, very high. They can precipitate objects and things like that, but they don't have the understanding of, you know, what is relationship? What is it like to have to get up every morning, go to work, you know, all the difficulties. That's what, see, mastery is really beyond enlightenment because, you know, like Ramakrishna could sit in samadhi for hours, you know, not know who he was, where he was, not even be aware of the physical plane, but he couldn't go to work, hold a job, raise children, things like that, you know? So to be a master is to understand what humanity is going through and to be able to go into a situation like I can walk into a bar and talk with someone, you know, I don't need to drink or anything, but, you know, I could even have a few sips of beer or something and won't go to hell, you know, and talk with someone that needs my help. You know, that's mastery, not saying, oh, that's a bar, they serve alcohol, I can't go in there, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, and also I have, you know, probably 75% of the people that I meet that are students of the Ascended Masters are women. So I have to understand what women go through and what their problems are with men and family and all this stuff. So I have to spend a lot of time with women and be in different relationships. So I understand these problems, you know. You know, it's just amazing that people can be married to somebody for 20 years or even 30 years and not communicate about some of the most basic problems that they're having, you know, and they get divorced then because, you know, people tell me they're going to get divorced and I go, why? And, you know, this woman told me recently, she said, I don't feel fulfilled as a woman. You know, I have two children with this man and everything, and I love him. He's a wonderful person, but there's a part of me that's not fulfilled, you know? And I think she meant sexually, energetically, there was something missing, and she was going to leave him and search for someone that completed her on that level, you know, like on the tantric level, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, why? You know, she told me the day before she was leaving that why didn't you tell me a month ago? I would have said, go to a therapist, he'll sit down with you, talk with you separately, then together, and say, look, there's a miscommunication here. You can make this relationship work, but you need to realize, I'd say to the guy, you don't realize this woman is not satisfied, that there's something missing, you know, and she obviously needs to learn to communicate to him, you know, and I have friends even, you know, people talk to me all the time that they're in relationships and they don't communicate some of their most basic frustrations, you know. It's sad, you know, but how many lifetimes do you want to come back to work on this, you know?
See, I'm lucky in a way. In this lifetime, I spent my whole life alone. So I chose this as a soul. I know I'm aware of that meanwhile, so that I can really find my God self before I ever, if at all, go into some kind of close partnership. This is in my particular case, this is my path, because I went through, I went through many, many encounters in my whole life, and met many men on various levels, but never on a heart level. It was always experiences. I was falling in love, or had emotional connections, or I attached myself very fast to somebody, or I idealized him, or something like that. And it was always unreciprocated. So it was never that somebody fell in love with me and I had similar feelings, not even on a soulmate level, where you think like, oh my goodness, we are really getting along well with each other and we are getting married, or I have a family or something. I didn't have any of that. And I realized now that I'm a little older and a little wiser why all that happened, because when in 2019 I came to that point where I decided, well, okay, I get it. It's the way I was searching for love in all the wrong places is over. I don't find it on the outside. I don't find it in a person or in a man. I can go on dating pages and do whatever I want. I can sit in a bar forever. Men will always choose the other women but me. So this was my whole experience. And then I came to the point where I said to God or to whoever, my inner guidance, okay, I'm done with that. Either I find the right love in this lifetime, or I'm fine with staying alone, and I just do my job and my service for the light and work on myself, And then I had this encounter of my heart center chakra opening a few years later. And then I found about the twin flame and twin ray information. I mean, I was already aware of it through the books and everything before, but then after my heart opened like a flower, it was like I could not sleep anymore for weeks. I had so much energy. I could not rest anymore. I could not concentrate anymore. I was so much in love. I was drowned in love, like in an ocean, I was just flowing, over flooded with love. And I realized that this was not normal. This was not the normal falling in love with somebody. And it really boosted and boosted my path of awakening and ascension. So this is exactly why I at some point asked you, Peter, if you know about that and everything. And you then recommended me your book, because you said you write about your experience of this encounter in your book. And I just have to really tell you that I'm so grateful for your service and for your work, and also for this particular book, because it showed me, now that I read it completely, it gives me even more peace and more understanding on what was happening, why it is happening, because it is really so tremendously important to there's so much about it. It's really a path to God. Because recently I did an inner visualization or some kind of meditation with my inner heart. And I was, as you did, you asked the masters desperately at some point, and this is what I am writing about in my article. God or masters, tell me, is she really my twin flame, or what is this all about? And then you had this out of body experience where you were seeing yourself as the masculine enfolding her. She said to you, the divine feminine was somewhere floating as a ball of light, and she was telling you to enfold her, and which you did. And then you saw yourself out of the body, and you had this experience of bliss and oneness. And this was the complete realization of this unified soul consciousness. And this is so amazingly beautiful. And then it was clear to you that who she was, there was no doubt anymore. And yet it was not meant to be a physical relationship or a physical partnership. But it was clear that it was something that you had to experience as a part of growth and of your spiritual awakening. And in my personal life, it's the same. And recently I had this visualization. I had a similar question: is this really true? And what am I going through here? Am I just in a delusional unicorn or something? And then my inner guidance told me to go into my heart and to go really inwards and to see myself with this other person within my heart. And then I started to smile again, and I had this peace, and I had this love. I had this feeling of oneness, you know. And then it was clear, and the message was, all that counts is the love that you hold in your heart. And
Yes.
this is my realization, because this encounter helped me to open my heart to an extreme amount that I had never had before. And this boosted me now to be able to have love and compassion to more people, to humanity, to the earth, and to be of service to the light. And this is just an amazing experience. And this is what I wanted to say. Yes, thank you for listening.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, you see, Pearl had a similar experience. She met her twin Ray when she was quite young, but they were not ready to be together. He went off with another woman. Then she was told to be with Jerry, and they were not like soul. You know, there was not really so much the heart connection there. He was there to protect her, to support her, or whatever. And he was gone most of the day, and she would see all her students that would come. But when you met her, you could feel her love. She had to find the love within herself. And she didn't have children or anything, you know, but so her students were her children. You know what I mean? So you don't need to have that outer relationship to be the love. Like,
No.
you might, like, for example, let's say Mother Mary decided to reincarnate again, and she wanted to be free to come and go and to be a spiritual teacher. You would feel the love around her, but there's no need in her to bond, you know, to live with another being. You know what I mean? So there are many very high people incarnating now, and they don't need to be in a daily one-to-one relationship with somebody, you know?
I think it's all about the love and the unconditional love. And I think in my experience, I mean, I already had an experience of unconditional love when I met my mentor, Omnek Onik, the Venusian, because she gave me the first initiation in unconditional love through a darshan. And it was my first heart opening 30 years ago. But it was not a partnership thing, you know. When I met this other person, it was a different thing, because me being a single for my whole life, then encountering a man who is causing this or triggering this heart center chakra opening that just locked up. It just opened other realms of my own inner experience that I had to go through. All these fears, all these expectations, insecurities, experiences of abandonment, of not be feeling wanted. It is really painful when you're going through that. You think you have the feeling of, I have found the love of my life and he is not even seeing me, you know, he's not even interested in me, or some other even experience, even more painful, or in other terms painful stuff that they are I don't know, there's everybody experiences it differently, this is for sure, because I know now that this is by design, so that we are really stepping into the unconditional love for ourselves, for this other person, and for everybody and for every soul. And as far as I see it now with my awareness, this is why we have so many twin flame encounters and awakenings and everything, so that the planetary consciousness and the frequency is rising to a certain level of unity consciousness and overcoming the duality consciousness of separation. Would you agree on that?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, it's finding, God within. Like I met Ananda May Mai, personally in India. They call her the bliss permeated mother. I have her picture here. Her picture's in my books,
Mm-hmm.
and she was friends with Yogananda. And she really changed my life because I met her on the street and she just looked at me and somehow she was seeing God in me, and she did, what they say, namaste. That means the God in me honors the God in you. But she was actually seeing God in me. And after that, I went home. There was this feeling of bliss within me. And the next 3 days, I meditated. I said, I want to see in myself what she was seeing, you know? And that was the beginning. Then later, like a year later, I met Pearl and she taught me how to do that, how to transmit that. She could do the same thing as Ananda May Mai. She could transmit that, and she taught me how to do that also. In fact, we could do that now if you like,
I'm eager to doing it now. Go ahead.
So it's just, you keep, Pearl said, would you like to meditate? So I was going to sit on the floor in lotus, and close my eyes. And she said, you don't need to sit on the floor. You don't need to close your eyes. Just turn your attention inward, but, keep your eyes open. It's not a staring contest, but just your eyes are open. So you're aware of me in front of you, and then feel that sun in the center of your being, and just feel, I am the presence of the living God. I am a sun, and, I am the living light, sending a ray of light from my heart to your heart. And you're thinking the same thing. You don't need to say it out loud, but I am the presence of God sending a ray of light from the sun in my heart to the sun in Peter's heart. See, there's really no distance because I'm right there in the room with you and I can feel your heart. I feel that. And we can just sit like that for a minute. Just be aware of the sun in your heart and the sun in my heart. They're just two suns shining light on each other. I am the living light flowing forth from my heart to your heart.
I am the presence of my ascended master self. I am the Son of God, radiating my light to your heart.
And you can say also, I am the presence of the Divine Mother.
I am the presence of the Divine Mother.
Sending love from my heart to Peter's heart, or to anybody.
Sending my love from my heart to Peter's heart.
Yeah, I feel that. That is very, very sacred.
It's very hot.
Yeah, yeah. I had a group of 4 women here and they wanted to meditate. So at first we did that Buddhist, Vipassana, where you observe the breath and you observe the thoughts and you say, I am not my thoughts. And that was all very nice. We were in a very still place. But then I said, see, most most of these spiritual teachings are very patriarchal, you know. It's about the mind, stilling the mind, going to the emptiness, you know, the oneness, all that, you know. But, you know, we need to develop the mother quality also. So, and, you know, I said, all these four women had all been mothers, had children. I said, think of your baby when it's 2 months old, you're holding it in your arms and you're looking down at it. Feel that love. And know that baby is your own heart that you're holding. Mm. And just say, I am the Divine Mother sending love into the world. Well, the love that filled the room when they did that was so beautiful, it brought tears to my eyes, you know? And then I said, let us send that love out to all the nature spirits, to Mother Earth, to Gaia, to all the nature spirits. And it was just beautiful. The love was filling, going out through the walls and so on. So they left. And then, you know, half an hour later, I drove into town. Well, there's a place where I drive and there are trees on either side of the road. The nature spirits came out of the trees. They were like 20 feet tall, these women in beautiful robes. They all looked like Mother Mary. And they held their hands up and they said, we love you. We want to thank you for your blessing. We felt it. Now, this was 2 miles from where I had been. They felt it 2 miles from where I had been sending this prayer out. And I'm sure all the nature spirits on earth got it, you know. And they said, thank you so much. It means a lot to us. And then we send our love to you. And I almost went off the road. I just, again, it brought tears to my eyes. I just gripped the steering wheel. That was so beautiful. That is the mother love. That's what the world needs. If enough people could send that mother out, that mother love out, there wouldn't be any war. Nobody would want to fight, you know?